So here to talk more about Accrue Savings is the company's founder and CEO, Michael Hershfield. Michael, good morning. Great to have you here. So what can you tell us about this Series A funding round that you guys just got?
Good morning. It's an exciting day for us. We're thrilled to have Tiger and the rest of the investors joining us on this journey. We only launched a couple months ago, but the reality is that there's this huge gap in the market. So many credit options, retail credit cards, buy now, pay later. The opportunity here is distinct. Americans save, and we've forgotten about that opportunity for so long in the American innovation economy.
So this is really interesting that you guys are doing this because most companies reward you for spending, giving you airline miles, some sort of deals on something else. How do you guys reward consumers for saving? How does that sort of work out here?
Yeah, so we partner with merchants. So just like as you mentioned to your audience, buy now, pay later that embed on merchant websites, we do as well. And the merchants are awakening to the opportunity to reward their consumers or their prospective consumers. They see this as a huge opportunity to build their brand and build value in the market. And so when we partner with merchants, we say, how much do you want to reward them? Just like as if they were thinking about providing discounts or spending money with Google and Facebook. They're repositioning their spend not to the marketing acquisition tools of the past, but rather repositioning that dollar to go into the consumer's bank account. I mean, this is really special, right? We have to remind ourselves that consumers have more power than ever in the market. They can choose to spend their money wherever they want to, and it's forgotten by brands how much they need to do for them. And if you just provide credit options, you're not doing enough for them, and brands and retailers potentially owe more to their consumers.
Okay, so explain this just a little bit more to me about this here, because how do the brands sort of make money off of people saving? Because you would think the opposite would be the case, that they make money off of more people spending. So how do they sort of benefit here from this?
So over time, the consumer ultimately will make the purchase with the retailer. And again, marketing funnels are very interesting, right? Consumers spend months and months potentially deciding where they should make their purchase. And here you can say, I'm going to still potentially acquire this customer. Instead of giving money to Google and Facebook, chase a user around the web with retargeting ads, potentially sending emails or sending discount codes via email. What you're doing here is potentially acquire a customer earlier on in the consideration phase. And ultimately, the user is saving, right? There's a misnomer that Americans aren't saving. They're saving for furniture. They're saving for travel. They're saving for everything. And so retailers just don't have that exposure. They don't realize that instead of spending money with Google and Facebook, there is a huge opportunity to begin an affinity relationship with consumers to allow them to save up for the products at the product level, at the brand level, ultimately to make the purchase at their website and create a tremendous better relationship related to affinity and loyalty that is on the terms that has less stress associated. We go back to what credit is doing to many Americans in the United States. It provides tremendous social insecurity. And so if brands can align to something with a mission and a vision, they don't have to replace BNPL or retail credit cards. But what they can do is provide payment diversity. And ultimately, the consumer is going to reward them with making the purchase on their site or in their store.
That's really interesting, the strategy and all this. I think that's really fascinating. And it's coming really at a good time here, Michael, because we've seen this proliferation of the buy now, pay later service everywhere. I mean, not just banks are doing this. You have the brands themselves offering these buy now, pay later systems as well. So it's almost like this is coming at a really big time right now, your company, because of how much proliferation is happening in the buy now, pay later space.
Yeah, I mean, this is the moment, right? The last few years, we've seen tremendous growth of BNPL and growth to exposure to credit for every American consumer. This is not a replacement to any particular credit option. What we're saying to retailers when we have these conversations, and again, really lucky to have the support of our investors, and both retailers and investors and our consumers are responding to this. What we're saying is that offer an option. There's always an alternative. And if you continue to sort of push, and we've been doing this for 30, 40 years in retail, offer an alternative that's related to savings. Now is just the moment. We know brands have more social value than ever before. They have more influence on consumers. We know there is significant negative headwinds associated with BNPL. We know Gen Zers don't like to use credit. We know that American saves on our research through the COVID crisis. Again, savings is an important tool for American society. It is not a replacement to credit options. It's not a replacement for retailers around retail credit cards or BNPL. The vision and the mission of Accrue Savings is just access to savings alternatives and empowering consumers to make smart choices with their brands.
Michael, I got about a minute or so left with you. So how do you sort of see Accrue Savings, moving forward and growing within the next year or so? What are sort of your big goals here?
I mean, I deeply believe that savings needs to be ubiquitous online and in stores. So Accrue Savings might be that pioneer in the market of embedding the merchant embedded savings experience. So for us, we're going to continue to grow our retailer footprint. Obviously, we're only 2 months in the market, but we are primed, and that's support with Tiger and Carol Tomei and Michael Ruman and a number of our existing investors. Their support is going to get us. And I believe a year from now, we're going to get on a call and we're going to say, really, thank you. Like, it's a blessing that there's so much Accrue Savings online that's going to be in the best interest of consumers and really in the best interest of the relationship that brands and consumers have with each other.
Really fascinating stuff here. Congratulations on all the success, Michael. Michael Hershfield, Accrue Savings founder and CEO, joining us this morning on Wake Up with Cheddar.